our next story. Um, Very interesting because this is what a lot of people have talked about this when it comes to equality of the sexes. I have a different take on it, but we'll see where it goes. Senate panel votes to make women register for the draft. Now, the draft was implemented officially in 1940, and the last time it was used was in the Vietnam War. We used it before that in almost every major war, but the last time it was used was for the Vietnam War. And in the story, it says the Senate Armed Forces Committee has approved language in its annual defense policy bill that will require women to register for the draft. The National Defense Authorization Act, approved by the committee behind closed doors Wednesday, amends the Military Selective Service Act to require the registration of women for selective service, according to summary released Thursday. The United States has not instituted a draft since the Vietnam War, and Pentagon officials have repeatedly said they intend to keep the force all volunteer. But men ages 18 through 25 still have to register with what's officially known as the Selective Service System or face consequences such as losing access to federal financial aid for college. Now, Congress has been debating whether to expand the registration requirement to women since all combat jobs were open to female service members in 2016. Why did it take so long for that to happen? We're going to get into a story later about why the military is almost a giant boys club, but it's just a secret, like, black cloak and dagger organization where everything's so hush hush, but it's so sexually charged and very much against females. And it said so. It just now allowed 2016. That was 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, it just allowed all females to work all jobs within the military. And now, of course, they want to give them the draft. Now, what's the big issue with the draft? So why haven't we really used the draft? Why is it not even, it said right there, that it, for all effective purposes, it doesn't, we don't use it, even though it's still a law. Well, we don't really use it, and the last time we used it in Vietnam was because in Vietnam, a lot of people came back messed up, like very hurt. Vietnam was the start of, instead of people dying, it was a lot more amputations. There's a lot more injuries because of health being very well. And it was the first war where they had cameras. And that proved to be a detriment to America, and especially the American soldiers, because when they were brought home after the American public seeing the acts of war, the grotesque acts of war that were perpetrated in this needless war. We lost the Vietnam War 100%, but it was needless. We did not need to go in there. And when Americans saw the videos and then the soldiers came back, they took a lot of that anger out on the American soldiers. Right or wrong, I don't really believe that the soldiers should have been blamed, but at the same time, we all have personal responsibility and personal accountability, and they're the ones at the end of the day that perpetrated those particular actions. But the generals, and that's the thing when it comes to the military, it's such a hierarchy that you don't actually, in a way, they break your spirit, they break your free will, and you don't. How in control are you? So the draft, last year the commission recommended the draft registration be expanded to include women, calling it necessary but fair step. It remains to be seen, of course, whether Congress will end gender-based registration until the military, under the Military Selective Service Act. But at least for now, the court's long-standing deference on Congress on matters of national defense and military affairs cautions against granting review while Congress actively weighs the issue. Now, it's funny that this is the debate. This is the debate of including women into the draft instead of just eliminating the draft altogether. Why is that not the debate? Why has that never been the debate? Instead of adding to it just dropping it, especially because we haven't used it. But it's such a horrible practice. You give people the option of either going to war or being a traitor, in a sense. For me, that'd be like, okay, I betray my country or betray myself. So I would have to be a conscientious objector in that situation. And so I think we should just get rid of the draft altogether. It's there's no real point for it, and there's no real point of adding women to it.